فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had many miracles which people witnessed, and we have them in our books of seerah, books of hadith. There are chapters on the miracles of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But there is one miracle which is enduring miracle, a timeless miracle for all ages, for all times, and for all places. This is one of the greatest miracles of Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is that? Who's going to tell me? What is this enduring and timeless miracle of Muhammadur Rasulullah? What is it? The Quran. Do you really believe it? Do you believe the Quran is a timeless miracle? Do you believe it?
Yes.
Subhanallah, mashallah. But you know, if you believe this is a miracle, don't you think you should be spending more time with it? Trying to understand, how is it a miracle? Why is it a miracle? How can I convince a rational person, a non-believer, who is logical, reasonable, master of languages, how can I convince him? Hey, my Rasul's book is a miracle. My religious book, my holy book is a miracle. How can you do that? I'll tell you, the Christians can't say our gospels are miracle. They never have said it anyway, okay? They never said it. The Jews can't say, oh, our Torah is a miracle, yeah, no? Or the old Bible, it has 70 books in it. How many? It's got Suhuf Ibrahim alayhi salam's books. It's got Zabur, the Psalms of Dawood alayhi salam. Psalms of Dawood are amazing, but still they can't claim it's miracle. They have so many weird things in them, illogical, sometimes perverse, sometimes immoral. But what about Al-Quran al-Hakim? Hey? No one can fault the Quran of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the miracle of Muhammadur Rasulullah. For the last 2 years, I've actually been studying very deeply the tafsir of Surah Yusuf. Nearly 2 years I spent looking at what makes this surah, as Quran claims, Ahsan al-Qasas. Ahsan al-Qasas. Everybody say Ahsan al-Qasas.
Ahsan al-Qasas.
The most beautiful short story. The most beautiful
short story.
You know, I've read lots of short stories. I hope you read short stories, even in Urdu. It's an amazing genre of novels, short stories, okay? And it's one of the great achievements of modern society. We can write long novels in 3 parts, that big, okay? And we can write short ones, and they are good, okay? But most of them are absolutely deceiving, deviant. They leave you with bad mouth. They leave you with a spoilt mind, okay? Even if you look at some of the traditional, you know, the tales of the pilgrims, for example, very famous Christian short tales of the 4th century, Chaucer's, Shakespeare's, okay? And all the other, you know, Jane Austen, and they're great writers. If you look at their stories, they're nice, beautiful English, good, flowery English, a lot of metaphors in them, good stylistics. But still, do they really guide you? Do they really help you in your life? Do they transform you? Do they make you a better human being? Do they improve your outlook? Do they give a good image of humanity and describe the human condition? Seriously, I've studied a lot. We used to we had to do them in school. Our children do them. They examine these things. But wallah, when you look at the Quran, any part of the Quran and any surah of the Quran, any chapter of it, every chapter is really a book within this great book. Okay? Surah actually is from the word surah, which is walls. Okay? So it means this is a walled off. This is a very special. Okay? Allah divided it into 114 for a purpose. Okay? Surah Yusuf, as I said, I spent 2 years looking at what modern academics have done on it. There are a lot of non-Muslim academics, professors who are doing a lot of research on Quran in America, here, Germany, France, all over the world, mashallah. There are literally hundreds. And about 4 years ago, we had a conference in Nottingham University, which we sponsored, but it was done by the University of Nottingham's Department of Theology. Then we had, I think, nearly more than a dozen best Orientalists from all over the world talking about the Quran, about the Quran. Many of them were absolutely convinced, people from Oxford University, many of them were convinced about its beauty and its miraculous nature. Okay? I'm going to share some if I have time, but in this book of mine, which we've just launched, The Most Beautiful Story, a commentary of Surah Yusuf, I am exploring what is this amazing miracle. And I want you to see, inshallah, and I promise, if you read this thoroughly, at the end of it, you will say, wow, no one can write a story like this. No one can write a story like this because this is from the divine. And the Quran makes a claim, ahsan al-qasas. It didn't say al-qisasul jameel, a beautiful story, but it said the most beautiful story. The
most beautiful story.
Meaning there is no match to it. There is no, okay, so let's begin this story. This is this other sad thing is many of you think you know the story. But have you read what the Quran says? Have you read the whole of the Surah Yusuf yourself? Or is it, pata hai thoda bahut hai. That's vague, that's foggy. Tumhe bich ho. You're in dark. You're in this foggy world. Please, come usko 15 minute lag san. Urdu vich bhi jaye na. 10-15 minutes you can read the whole story. Okay? In English as well. Will you do that? First of all, will you all read this story yourselves? And read and go through those 27 episodes, 27 amazing scenes of Surah Yusuf. All right? And the way, I've done my translation is first time, it's been presented in that 27 episodes. I understand there's an academic who did research on Surah Yusuf, and he also came up with 27 episodes. Okay, so it's been authenticated, corroborated by another source as well, mashallah. Anyway, the enduring lessons of Surah Yusuf. What are the main lessons of this? Surah Yusuf is a late Meccan surah revealed sometime after Surah Hud. Surah Hud is about the 7 prophets. Nuh alayhi salam, Hud alayhi salam, Salih alayhi salam, Shu'aib alayhi salam. 7 prophets and what they have to endure. So it tells you what each prophet had to do, how they were rejected, and how Allah eventually destroyed their people. And this was a lesson to the Meccan people and a reassurance to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You are going to succeed, they are going to lose. All right? So after Surah Hud, then Allah says, come, we're going to tell you another story. This time, the brothers hatched nasty plot. So your brothers, Abu Lahab is his uncle. Abu Jahl is from the same family. And Utbah and Walid are all from the Quraysh, same clan at least. Okay? So Allah says, look, Yusuf's brothers failed. These are going to fail as well. But look at the difference. Look at what Yusuf was. So the Quran actually portrays the most amazing image of Yusuf alayhi salam. The most perfect human being. How wonderful he was from his childhood to his last day. When he's seduced and tempted, he's able to resist that. When he is badly treated, he reacts with patience and so on. Shows an amazing image. Meaning, Yusuf is Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam of his own time. Anyway, so this is revealed after Surah Hud. I hope you can again see the continuation. Okay, and this is so important. Okay, it tells the story of Prophet Yusuf employs a commanding narrative that is lyrical at times, with an outstanding drama woven around moral and spiritual values. Now, that's what makes it different from the Bible. The Bible, Genesis 37, gives the whole story of Yusuf, very similar to the Quran, but it is, oh my goodness, astaghfirullah. It is always accusing Yusuf of being a manipulative, greedy bureaucrat working for the king, sadly. It employs the wrong image. And not only that, but other things. I did a study with a Christian scholar. I sat him down and I presented him my translation. This was when I was doing the translation. And I said, I'll read Genesis 37, we'll read that, and we'll compare notes. You tell me. Subhanallah. I do, listen, if you are serious, go and look at, Genesis 37, the story of Joseph in the Bible, and then compare it and see, wow, why this is ahsan al-qasas, the way Allah tells it, Humans, you see, they interfered with it because they wanted to derive their own evil ideas. They wanted to put their own evil ideas into it. This is why we say the Bible has been interpolated. Otherwise, the story of Yusuf, even in the Bible, would have been like the Quran. But sadly, they've manipulated because they wanted something out of it in their own way. Are you with it? So that's why. But the Quran, it shows us what moral values are. It's all around those values of kindness, of generosity, of forgiveness, of patience. I really want you to look at that. That is what it all revolves around, the character of Yusuf alayhi salam. It supports values deeply embedded in Quranic guidance: truthfulness, patience, modesty, justice, forgiveness, kindness, and above all, courage. What? Yeah, Yusuf isn't mealy-mouthed, Yusuf isn't scared, He speaks the truth. When the king says, come to my court, he says, no, I'm not going to come until you exonerate me. Clear my name first, and then I will come out. Can you see that courage? कितने साल जेल विच हो, पैगाम सुना बादशाह की तरफों अच्छो बार क्या कर सो दौड़ सो ना Yusuf, no, I'm not coming out. First, exonerate me. Clear my name. I am innocent. And this was a miscarriage of justice. Until you do that, I'm not. That's what? Courage, isn't it? Subhanallah. Anyway, these values are presented in a variety of contexts in this surah to show that in the end, they will prevail. You see, this is the message of the Quran, that moral values always win. Temporarily, they might lose, as we are seeing now in Gaza. Temporarily, justice is losing. Truthfulness is losing, isn't it? Isn't that true? Exactly. Evil and wrongness seems to be on ascendancy. How long? How long? Hitler did it. How long was he successful for? Similar thing. Inshallah, Allah will protect those people, and truth will prevail one day. The surah promises empowerment and dignity. That's what this surah is all about. And that's what I'm saying to you is the miracle. If you read it carefully, this is what it's showing. That even little boy Yusuf, little boy, and he's from another tribe completely different from the Egyptians. Doesn't speak their language, but becomes the
king of.
Yes, he becomes the king. Does he have to struggle? Does he have to do anything other than show his beautiful character? This is what it means that, the surah promises empowerment and dignity only after you have gone through lots and lots of trials and tests. So it's an amazing lesson, of strengthening and making us resilient, inshallah al-aziz. Lekin padhne wale ho na. That's the sad thing, we don't read that. Are you going to read this? Tayyib? Truly? With heart? Fahd? You're so intelligent, man. Allah will ask you, you could learn all the physics, all those difficult mathematical equations, quadratic equations. You could do differentiation, integration. My God. Mind-boggling equations, Why couldn't you read straightforward seerah of my prophet, presented so beautifully, so easily, and not reflect on it? now you have no excuse with my translation and this book now not to know the beauty of this amazing surah. Let me just read you one little passage from it, and then I'll share some of this. The shifting fortunes in Yusuf's journey. Through its 27 scenes, Surah Yusuf plots the complexity of human life, the sudden and unexpected changes in fortunes. One moment living at home, the next moment languishing in a dark, dank well. One moment enjoying life in a palace, the next moment in a prison. One moment a prisoner, the next moment the advisor of the king. The story of Yusuf provides real-life illustration of Quranic principle, which is that it may well be that you dislike something, yet it is good for you. And it may well be that you love something, yet it could be bad for you. And this is a very beautiful example of that as well. Whatever comes your way, you've got to be strong and resilient and thoughtful enough to say, I'm going to take it. And my procedure is going to be for sabrun jameel. My policy is what? Sabrun
Jameel.
Yeah, it occurs twice for sabrun. That is, Yaqub says, my policy is patience. My policy is what?
Patience.
Because it is so beautiful. It is what endures and succeeds. Anyway, then there are lessons of patience and so on. I illustrate this. This cosine curve, anybody who does maths and knows this cosine, that is how life is. The ups and downs of life, okay? And how we are to cope with that. So in this book, what I've done is I've explored how to do a tafsir of long surahs in a new way. And that's what I'm exploring. I've shared it with many scholars, mashallah. Got good response, but I'd like to share it with everybody now. So what we've done is I've taken you through the translation and a commentary of it. And then I do a deeper commentary and insights. That's chapter 2. Giving you some more ideas, which will inshallah impress you, and you'll see, wow, this is amazing. This is truly ahsan al-qasas. In the third chapter, I take you through 11 very special Arabic terms, like hasad, like sajideen, sabrun jameel, wa fawqa kulli dhi ilmin alim. These 11 terms which will ta'wilul ahadith and ta'bir, okay? The interpretation of dreams. So I take you through those 11 terms in chapter 3, and then I look at 15 life hacks. 15? You know what life hack is? Life hacks is, tips and ways of overcoming difficulties of life. Overcoming? Don't you have any difficulties? You don't have any difficulties, eh? Every moment, you're facing difficulty. How do you overcome those? What are those tips? 15 of them, inshallah. Here, I've let me just share perhaps one or two of them with you. But you really do need to read this. For example, one of those tips is this. This is really out of the 15 is people of Allah. Listen, people of Allah can overcome indecency and sexual temptations. Now, this society is riddled with these sexual problems, isn't it? Yeah. This surah tells us that, if you are strong, if you are pious, if you have faith, what will happen? Nothing can, okay? No matter how beautiful Zulaikha is, no matter how she advances and presents herself, the man of God, the pious man, will reject it. Do you see that? The Quran is actually saying, you will get the burhan. Read that. You will get what?
Burhan.
Yes, which will protect you from the evil. And this is really powerful. This is one of the reasons why, some of the ulama, when, they say that if you want to memorize the Quran, read Surah Yusuf properly. Act on it. Why? Because it will purify you. It will make you strong and patient. And only the pure and the patient can do the hifz of Quran. Are you with it?
Yeah.
Anyway, I say there are many other beautiful life hacks. I don't have time to take you through. You need to read that yourself. And then I have a chapter called symbolic reading. What I mean here is I'm looking at the surah or its elements from the point of view that they are symbols. They are, for example, so what is the wolf in Surah Yusuf? Well, one of these symbols, although no actual wolf appears in this surah, but it is mentioned, isn't it? The brothers say the wolf ate him. Okay? So what is the wolf here? So the wolf is, wolves are, here I interpret it, it is about, it represents the world. It represents the world. Similarly, the self is in a state of forgetfulness and neglect. The world will consume you. Just like the wolf can consume you, okay? The world will consume ना मतलब खाई सकती है जिस तरह पग्याड़ खाई सकती इस तरह दुनिया भी तो की खाई जा सी जाए ना. So that's the symbol we're using here of that, yeah, no? Yusuf's shirt represents time. So Yusuf's shirt appears 3 times. Once it's blood stained. Second time it's torn. Third time it's beautifully fragrant. Eh? What is that? That's an amazing metaphor of time, how times change. Okay, anyway, you need to read. I'm not going to tell you the whole story there. No? You can, inshallah, read this. And then at the end, there is something else. The ring structure of the surah. This is miraculous. The ring structure. What do I mean by ring structure? Well, when you read the surah, you see that there is the dream of Yusuf alayhi salam. Where is it fulfilled? Where does the actual dream happen? Right at the end. What's second thing? The brothers hatch a nasty plot. What's second from the end? Where they say, Maaf kar de. Are you with it? What's third? Yusuf's blood-stained shirt. What's third from the end? Yusuf's fragrant shirt. Do you see that? That's a ring structure. You can see it. I'm not making up. Have a read of it. Acha? This is not made up. This is actual, real there. No? Okay? The fourth is Yusuf is sold as a slave. What's fourth from the end? Binyamin is imprisoned. Yaqub ne doi bete jaya na. Ek idhar qaid ho raha udhar. Are you with it? Fifth is Zulekha tempts Yusuf. And fifth from the end is Zulekha says, oh, Mari Valpisi. Kya huni? My fault. I was the wrong. Do you see that? Seventh is Yusuf is wrongly imprisoned. What happens on the other side? Yusuf is exonerated. His name is cleared. He's freed. Okay. 7 is the king's dream. From the other side, the king's dream is interpreted by Yusuf. And then 8 is Yusuf advises the prisoners. Yaqub advises his son about evil eye. Are you with it? Do read that. And now tell me, in Makkah Sharif, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do you think, sat down and said, I want to make a ring structure? Ubay ibn Ka'b knew about the ring structure? The Katibs of the way. Did they know about it? No. What is this then? What is this? Isn't this a miracle?
Yes.
Subhanallah. I want you to, inshallah, I hope you enjoy reading this amazing book, life-changing. And this is first, inshallah, my intention is to do Surah Al-Qaf, Surah Yasin, Surah Ar-Rum, lots of the surahs, inshallah. But I'm going to use the same model as this, and I want to have some feedback from you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to see the miracle of Allah's book. I'm doing a webinar. I'll talk about that in my Ilan's channel. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah.